Imagine your nervous system as a container for experiences. For many of us, this container is small and easily overwhelmed. When intense emotions or sensations arise, they quickly overflow, leading to impulsive actions we often regret. But what if we could expand this container? What if we could develop the capacity to fully experience even the most challenging sensations without immediately reacting? This is the transformative power of meditation. At its core, meditation is not about achieving a state of calm or emptiness. It's about expanding our capacity to be with whatever arises in our experience, without immediately trying to change or escape it. Consider a common scenario. Someone says something that offends you. In an instant, anger flares up. Your body tenses, your heart races, and you feel an overwhelming urge to lash out or withdraw. This is your nervous system's habitual response, a well-worn path of reactivity. For many of us, this surge of anger feels unbearable. We can't sit with the discomfort, so we act, perhaps saying something hurtful in return, or storming off or acting passive-aggressively or giving the other person the silence treatment. These actions are attempts to distract ourselves from the intense sensations we're experiencing. This is where meditation comes in. Through consistent practice, we gradually expand our capacity to stay present with intense sensations and emotions. We learn to feel the anger fully, the heat in our face, the tightness in our chest, the racing thoughts, without immediately acting on it. This doesn't mean suppressing or denying our anger. On the contrary, we're allowing ourselves to experience it more fully than ever before. We're creating space between the stimulus, the offensive comment, and our response. In this space lies our power to choose how we want to act, rather than being driven by automatic reactions. As we develop this capacity, something remarkable happens. We start to notice that emotions, no matter how intense, are temporary. Anger arises, peaks, and eventually subsides, all on its own. By allowing ourselves to fully experience this cycle, without trying to escape it through action, we begin to break free from old unhealthy patterns. This process of expanding our nervous system's capacity happens gradually. In meditation, we start by simply noticing sensations in our body. We might focus on the breath, observing its natural rhythm. When thoughts or emotions arise, as they inevitably will, we practice returning our attention to the breath. Over time, we become more adept at staying with sensations, even when they're uncomfortable. We might notice an itch and observe it without immediately scratching, or we might become aware of anxiety and stay present with the fluttery feeling in our stomach rather than immediately trying to distract ourselves. As our practice deepens, we bring this expanded capacity into our daily lives. When conflicts arise in relationships, instead of immediately reacting, we can pause. We can feel the surge of emotion, acknowledge it, and choose our response thoughtfully. This doesn't mean we never express anger or set boundaries. It means we do so from a place of choice rather than compulsion. This ability to feel fully without immediately reacting is particularly powerful when it comes to breaking unhealthy patterns. Many of our most problematic behaviors, whether it's overeating, excessive drinking, or lashing out in anger, are attempts to avoid uncomfortable sensations or emotions. By expanding our capacity to be with these experiences, we remove the need for these escape routes. For instance, someone trying to break a habit of emotional eating might notice the urge to snack when they're feeling stressed. Instead of immediately reaching for food, they can pause and fully experience the stress. They might notice tension in their shoulders, a knot in their stomach, racing thoughts. By staying present with these sensations, they often find that the urge to eat passes on its own. This doesn't mean the process is easy. Sitting with uncomfortable sensations can be challenging, even overwhelming at times. That's why it's important to approach meditation with patience and self-compassion. We're not trying to force ourselves to endure unbearable discomfort. Instead, we're gradually expanding our capacity, always respecting our current limits. As we continue to practice, we often find that what once felt overwhelming becomes manageable. The anger that used to immediately trigger a shouting match might now be experienced as a warm flush that we can observe with curiosity. The anxiety that used to send us into a spiral of worry might now be recognized as an energetic sensation in the body. This expanded capacity doesn't just help us manage difficult emotions, It also allows us to experience positive sensations more fully. When we're not constantly trying to escape discomfort, we become more available to joy, love, and connection. We can savor pleasant experiences without clinging to them, knowing that, like all sensations, they too will pass. Moreover, this practice enhances our relationships. When we're able to stay present with our own uncomfortable emotions, we become better able to stay present with others in their difficult moments. Instead of becoming defensive when a loved one expresses hurt or anger, we can listen with openness and empathy. This creates space for deeper understanding and connection. It's important to note that expanding our capacity to feel doesn't mean we become passive or accepting of harmful situations. On the contrary, by learning to respond rather than react, we become more effective at addressing problems and setting boundaries. We can express our needs and feelings clearly without the distortion of impulsive reactions. This capacity for non-reactivity is particularly valuable in our increasingly complex and stressful world. With constant stimulation from technology and media, our nervous systems are often in a state of overwhelm. Meditation offers a way to step back from this constant reactivity to find a space of calm awareness from which we can engage more skillfully with life's challenges. Moreover, understanding the nature of our nervous system reveals why this practice is so crucial. Our nervous system, shaped by evolution and personal history, is hardwired to respond in certain ways. When faced with challenges or stress, it doesn't have the innate capacity to implement new, creative solutions. Instead, it falls back on old, familiar patterns, the very patterns that created or contributed to the problem in the first place. Think of it like a well-worn path in a forest. When we encounter an obstacle, our nervous system automatically takes the path it knows best, even if that path leads us deeper into difficulty. These ingrained responses might have served a purpose in the past, perhaps protecting us from perceived threats, but they often perpetuate cycles of stress, conflict, or avoidance in our current lives. For instance, if we developed a habit of turning to food for comfort in childhood, our nervous system might automatically generate cravings whenever we feel stressed or sad as adults. This pattern, while providing temporary relief, doesn't address the root causes of our distress and can lead to long-term health issues. The key insight here is that our default neurological responses are not designed to solve problems, but to react to them based on past experiences. They're about survival and immediate coping, not long-term thriving or growth. This is where meditation becomes transformative. By expanding our capacity to stay present with our experiences without immediately reacting, meditation creates space for new responses to emerge. It allows us to step off the well-worn neural pathways and explore new terrain. In this space of non-reactivity, we can observe our habitual responses without being compelled to act on them. We can ask ourselves, is this reaction helpful in this situation? Is there another way I could respond? This pause, this moment of conscious choice, is where real change becomes possible. Over time, as we consistently practice staying present with our experiences without immediately reacting, we actually begin to rewire our nervous system. We create new neural pathways, new possibilities for responding to life's challenges. Instead of being limited by our hardwired reactions, we develop the flexibility to choose responses that truly serve us and others. This process isn't about suppressing our natural responses or forcing ourselves to react differently. Rather, it's about creating enough inner spaciousness to allow new, more skillful responses to naturally arise. It's a gentle yet profound restructuring of our habitual ways of engaging with the world. Ultimately, the practice of meditation, understood in this way, is about more than just stress reduction or relaxation. It's about fundamentally transforming our relationship with our own experience. By expanding our capacity to feel fully without immediately reacting, we free ourselves from old, limiting patterns. We open up new possibilities for how we engage with ourselves, with others, and with the world. This is a lifelong journey, one that continually unfolds new depths of experience and understanding. Each time we sit in meditation, each time we pause before reacting in daily life, we're reinforcing and expanding our capacity. We're creating a nervous system that can hold the full spectrum of human experience with grace and wisdom. So the next time you sit down to meditate, remember, You're not trying to achieve a particular state or escape from your experience. You're expanding your capacity to be with whatever arises, pleasant or unpleasant. You're creating space between stimulus and response, between feeling and action. In this space lies the potential for true freedom and transformation. If this exploration of meditation as a journey through the full spectrum of human experience has intrigued you, you're in luck. In our next video, we'll dive deeper into the practical aspects of this approach. We'll explore how to navigate the vibrant landscape of your inner world, from moment to moment, sensation to sensation. Join us in part 2, where we'll uncover the intricacies of surfing the rainbow of emotions in meditation. Hit subscribe to make sure you don't miss it, and let's continue this journey of discovery together.